Thank you very much and a warm welcome. Now, Mali is in the news. The government has been facing tough times for a while, but even more now is a growing civil unrest. Opponents of the government are unhappy with the handling of the country's long-running jihadist conflict and economic crisis and the disputed elections. There are growing calls for President Boybacar Keïta to resign. Protests are staged with deadly clashes. The latest incident, that of Monday in Bamako, where heavy fire resounded again in the Badalabougou district. And that neighbourhood and its mosque are the stronghold of Imam Mahmoud Diko, a public figure with a strong following around whom a heterogeneous group has gathered against the president. The incident are now attracting global attention, and the use of deadly force against protesters is being condemned.
The UN and the African Union have condemned the government of Mali for what they call its use of lethal force on protesters who are calling for resignation of President Ibrahim Boybacar Keïta. The protest, which started last month, turned violent on Friday, with police reportedly firing gunshots towards demonstrators, some of whom had occupied government buildings in the capital, Bamako. In a statement, the UN mission in Mali, the African Union, the European Union and the West African regional grouping ECOWAS all criticized the Malian authorities over its handling of the protests. They have also condemned vandalism by the protesters and called on all parties to exercise restraint. They urged the Malian government to release opposition leaders arrested over the weekend. The Malian authorities said at least 4 people were killed on Friday, but the opposition says 8 more were killed by the police on Saturday during the street protests.
Now, President Ibrahim Boybacar Keïta on Saturday announced the dissolution of the country's constitutional court. The measure is seen as an attempt to calm the unrest that saw 4 people killed in street protests on Friday. The president says he would not tolerate such violence. Now, let us bring in Demba Traoré. Demba is the spokesperson for the URD party, Mali's main opposition party. He joins us now from Bamako. Demba, a series of violent events over the last days. How do you explain this turn of events?
I would like to thank you and put things in context. The P5 movement organized a meeting on Friday, July 10, following the refusal of the President of the Republic to accept his memorandum, which spoke of the resignation of the members of the Constitutional Court, the dissolution of the Assembly, and many other things. Faced with the President's refusal to accept this, a meeting took place. This meeting led to actions of civil disobedience ordered by the M5 movement. Immediately, our protest leaders went to the radio station. They occupied this station peacefully, without violence, for more than 1 hour. It was after the anti-terrorist forces came to dislodge them with military force. Shots were fired. People were wounded. Barehanded demonstrators who were simply sitting there, who did not ransack anything. This situation caused panic and revolt among the population, which left all the communes of Bamako to attack certain buildings, in particular the National Assembly and certain town halls. So the situation is tense, and at the same time, there have been some arrests. Today, there are more than 60 people arrested.
Apparently, so much happening. Demba, many international bodies are now calling for calm. But is there no other way to fight for your group? I mean, is there no other way for the opposition?
Yes, the struggle is being led by the streets today. I've always said that time is a very important factor in the resolution of this struggle. The president has made 4 speeches in 1 month, 4 empty speeches, and apart from his speech in which he talked about dissolving the Constitutional Court, we can't solve this problem in sequence. We can't wait for another speech. We don't have that time. The situation is getting more complicated. The mobilization is not weakening. The slippages continue. The services of state are paralyzed. The M5 movement will continue with its demands. So people will rise up and let themselves to be heard. The government is refusing to accept the recommendations and implement them. It's incomprehensible.
The question remains, Demba, isn't this a new source of tension that Mali could do without? Does Mali necessarily have to go through this?
La lutte est en train d'être menée par la rue aujourd'hui. C'est pourquoi je l'ai toujours dit. Il faut le facteur temps compte beaucoup dans la résolution de cette lutte.
It's because Mali doesn't need all this. What we wanted to see is a change in the mode of governance. Mali has been in trouble for some time now. That's why the president dissolving the constitutional court. The M5 movement is still pressing ahead with its demand. Why is the country still refusing to see what the protesters are demanding? What the president is doing will still enrage people. People will continue to go on the streets.